Okay, welcome to lesson 2.7 on understanding numbers again. This time we're going to do order of operations. Now, order of operations, simply defined, is a way for you to calculate multiple numbers with multiple operations. So when you have more than adding, subtracting, dividing, and multiplying, all those types of things all mixed up into an expression, what order do you do them in? Now, there is an order. So let's just take a look at a quick example here. Let's say that you win a contest and you were with another student and you were asked to answer the following skill testing question without a calculator. So you have 2 plus 3 times 4. Well, one student answers 20 and the other answers 14. So the question is, which one is correct? Because they both cannot be correct. Well, the one who's correct is the one that said 14. Well, how did the person get 20 if 14 was the correct answer? Well, the way they did 20 is they went 2 plus 3 and got 5, then 5 times 4. So they went in order this way, towards the right, right? They went from left to right, adding first and then multiplying. To do the other one, you multiplied first and then you added. So multiplication was performed the first operation. Now, why does it matter which way calculations are performed? Well, if there was no set of rules, when two people encountered 2 plus 3 times 4, they would both get different answers. And then how do we tell which one's correct? So you have to basically have a set of rules. All right. Now, these set of rules are now worldwide, and they're called order of operations. And it's a set of rules that we use to make sure we do things exactly the same everywhere. Now, we have a B, an E, a D, an M, an A, an S, and it spells the word bed mass. All right? Now be careful because the B and E are in order, but D and M are very important. You get D and M, you always divide and multiply in the order that they appear. Right? And when you add and subtract, it's always in the order that they appear. So when you have more than one multiplying and dividing, whichever one comes first, that's what you do first. When you have more than one adding or subtracting, whichever one is first is what you do first. So you may multiply one time first and divide the next, and the next question you may divide first and then multiply. So this is not really an order, this is just a grouping. The same thing with A and S. These are groupings. You add and subtract in the order they appear. Now, the only two things that actually have to be done in order are brackets, okay? And whatever's in those brackets, that's what you do first. And you do all the stuff in the brackets until it's finished. So you may have multiple things to do inside a bracket. And the last one is exponents. Now, in grade 6, we don't use exponents that much, so you're not going to have to worry about it. We're going to leave that for grade 7. So you only have to worry about doing brackets first, then divide and multiply in the order they appear, and then add and subtract in the order that they appear. Okay, so let's get started with some examples. All right, so we've got 4 plus 6 divided by 2. Now I'm going to leave the word bed mass here up so you can see it, but beware, D and M is an order, A and S, is a grouping, and A and S, adding and subtracting, is a grouping. So we have a choice between adding and dividing. Take a look here. You'll find that adding is at the end, and dividing and multiplying comes before adding and subtracting. So the first thing I've got to do in this question is work with 6 divided by 2. So now I'm going to take and copy down the 4 plus, but I'm going to replace the 6 divided by 2 with this answer. So I'm going to end up with 4 plus 3. Okay? And we divided first. Now there's only one choice, adding. And 4 plus 3 is 7. You're going to notice there's 3 levels here. Level 1, level 2, level 3. You have your question, you're dividing, and you're adding. You do not see an equal sign anywhere in this. And you always work down, copying down what you haven't done so that you can keep doing it in the future. You'll notice that 4 plus 6 divided by 2 is 7, 4 plus 3 is 7, and 7 is 7. So every line has to equal the answer. So if you find that it doesn't work, middle line doesn't equal 7 in this situation, then you probably made a mistake, and you have to go back and find out where that mistake is. This question would be worth 1 calculation per line. So you're going to get two marks, one for 4 plus 3 and one for 7. And of course, you're also going to get a mark up here for copying the question. But the calculations are going to give you 2. The question will give you 1. All right, now we have a choice between dividing, adding, and multiplying. Okay, now bed mass says divide, multiply, or multiply, divide in the order they appear. And you can see we've got a divide here, an adding, and a multiplying. Well, multiplying and dividing always comes before adding. So our first goal is 6 divided by 3. So I'm going to do 6 divided by 3, and I'm going to get 2. Now I still have to deal with 5 times 2. So I'm going to have to keep that in there, right? So plus 5 times 2 has to continue. We can't just drop it out of there. Now we have a choice between adding and multiplying. And in adding is right here, multiplying is before it, so we're going to multiply before we add. That means that the multiply, 5 times 2 comes next, and that makes a 10. Now we can also do the last part, 2 plus 10, and that gives us a 12 with our addition. All right? Now this question here, this example, has got 2 sets of brackets in it. So what you want to do is calculate these in the order that they appear. So start out with 6 plus 8, that's the first one you're going to do. And then once that's done, then you're going to do the 7 minus 3. So you start and complete the first set of brackets. So I want you to continue now and finish this off. So pause the recording and complete this question. All right, so here we go. Next, so I told you you had to do 6 plus 8 first. So that's what I'm going to do. You'll notice the 6 plus 8 becomes 14. I didn't deal with the 3 times, so that's got to come along because I still have to do it. And the times 7 minus 3, I haven't done that, so it can't disappear. It's got to stay there. The only thing I've done is shorten up 6 plus 8 to become a 14. So that takes care of the first set of brackets. Now I've got to take care of the second type of bracket, the second group of brackets. 7 take away 3, and that's a 4. Now I still haven't dealt with the 3 times or the 14 times. All I've done is dealt with the 7 minus 3. So now I've got 3 times 14 times 4. Now I have to do this multiplication because it comes first. So my first goal or my first calculation is going to be 3 times 14. So 3 times 14 gives me 42. And now finally I can do times 4, and that will give me 168 with the last multiplication. Now, if I was marking this, it says 4 marks here, but I would be giving you 1 for this, 1 for this, 1 for this, 1 for this, and 1 for this. So you can see this is worth 5 marks, right? The question and all the work. If you put down 168, you probably used your calculator, in which case you're going to get 0. Now, if I had not given you any calculators to work with, and you put down 168, you did this in your head, unfortunately, you're going to get the answer right. But the work is more important than the answer. The work in this case is the answer. The 168 is just your final part of it. So if you only put down 168, you did it all in your head, you would only get 1 out of the 5 marks. All right? All right, so here we go. 72 divided by 3 plus 18 times 8. So you can use your calculator to help you do the individual multiplications and additions and stuff like that. So pause the recording and do this question. Okay, we have a choice between dividing and adding and multiplying. Okay, now BEDMAS means that we multiply and we add in the order that they appear. So we're going to do the divide because it occurs first. So 72 divided by 3 is 24. Now I haven't done the add 18 times 8, so that's still got to be in there. Right? Now I've got a choice between adding and multiplying. 18 times 8 is the next thing, and you can use your calculator for 18 times 8, and that's 144. And now the last thing to do is the adding, and 24 plus 144 is also 168, which is the same as up there. Okay? So hopefully you're understanding. Let's go to the next question. You've got 245 times 138 divided by 7 plus 23. And again, you can use your calculator to help you. So pause the recording and complete this question. Okay. First thing you have to do is brackets, because BEDMAS, B-E-D-M-A-S, brackets is first. So the first thing you want to do is 7 plus 23, and that's 30. I haven't done the 245 times or the 138 divide yet. Okay, now in BEDMAS, B-E-D-M-A-S, the D-M means divide and multiply in the order they appear. So my first thing I'm going to do now is 245 times 138. Now notice in BEDMAS, if you think we had here, you think, look right here, you'll notice that I've got brackets, exponents, and then divide and multiply. Remember, this is a group. Now over here, you'll see multiply comes first, not divide. So even though it says D first, M next in the word BEDMAS, remember this is a group. You do these in the order that they appear. Now since multiply is first, we're going to multiply. So 245 times 138 gives you 33,810. Now I can divide by 30. That gives me 1127. Okay? Now, in order to make you understand how BEDMAS works, I want you to put a pair of brackets around this expression. I want you to put them in there somewhere, and I want you to make it so that whatever you do on the left-hand side, I said expression, that's actually an equation. 2 times 14 minus 6 divided by 2. I want you to put the brackets in here to make this left-hand side equal 8. So pause the recording and see if you can put them in there. Make sure you calculate it out so you know, okay? And find out where they have to go to give you 8. All right, it's going to be trial and error, but I will give you a hint. Normally multiplying and dividing comes before subtracting, so a good place to start with would be the 14 take away 6. And in fact, that's exactly what it is. So 14 take away 6 gives me 8, and then 2 times 8 is 16, and 16 divided by 2 gives you 8. All right, now what we're also going to end up doing here is we're going to have you create expressions and then solve them. So at the fair, Bob bought 8 Mars bars for $2 each, and 6 pop for $3 each. Write the expression for the total. So I need to know, what did Bob spend? Well, he spent 8 Mars bars. He got them for 2, so that's 8 times 2. And he got 6 pop for $3 each, so the pop cost him 6 times 3. All right, so the expression is 8 times 2 plus 6 times 3. So the question is, how much did he get back if he gave the clerk $40? So I want you to solve this first, okay? Find out how much it cost him. So solve 8 times 2 plus 6 times 3 and find out what his total is that he has to spend, and then we'll deal with the clerk and the change he gets back. So pause the recording and solve this question. Okay, well, we have multiply, add, and multiply. So let's take a look. We know that in BEDMAS, multiplication and division come before adding. So I've got to do 8 times 2 first. 8 times 2 is 16. Now I have a choice between adding and multiplying. Multiplying always comes before adding, so next one is 6 times 3. That gives me 18. And now I can add 16 for the Mars bars, 8 for the pop. 16 and 8 means that he spent $34. Now to find change, what you do is you give $40 to the clerk. So you're going to give him 2 20s, right? The clerk will do the math for you, and he'll find out, well, if you spent $34 and you gave him 40, how much you're supposed to get back. So the clerk's going to do this. It's going to say, okay, the amount you gave him is going to be subtracted from the cost of the item, and whatever's left over will be the change he gives you back. So you gave him 40. What you have costs you $34. So 40 take away 34 means that you're supposed to get $6 back. So Bob received $6 and change. Okay, this is a typical type of question, so you should get good at doing something like this. Hint, hint. Okay, Bob bought 2 boxes of candy for his children. Bob has 4 children. Each box had 12 packages of candy. So how many packages did each child get? So I want you to come up with an expression which will figure out how many packages each child gets. So solve the question. Sorry, pause the video. Oh, I'm getting tired. And solve the question. Or sorry, and come up with the expression. All right. So this is the way it works. 2 boxes of candy. Right? And each box has 12 packages in it. Each box has 12. So if you've got 2 boxes of 12 will give you the first part. All right? Now, what did he do? He divided it up evenly amongst his 4 children. So whatever he got for candy, 2 times 12, is divided by 4. Right? Now, if you wanted to, you could say 12 times 2, 12 boxes, 2 times divided by 4. So either one of these is correct. Okay? It's a good way. Now, let's go to the next example. I want you to take and, oh, I guess I kind of screwed it up here. Sorry. I want you to place the brackets around this expression in 3 different ways, but I want you to get 3 different answers. Okay? So I've done 3. There is more than one way, so there is more than 3, but I'll show you the 3 that I did. So I want you to put the brackets in and then solve it for each one of these. So pause the recording and then place the brackets in and then solve them. Well, you can see from the first one here, I put the brackets around the 10 plus 20. Now, I put the brackets around the 10 plus 20. What it does is it changes the order. Normally, we divide and multiply first, but by putting the brackets around the 10 plus 20, I'm forcing the person doing the question to add first. So 10 plus 20 is 30. Now, 30, I still have the minus 12, and I have the divide by 2 times 3. So the next question is, what do I do next? Subtract, divide, or multiply? Now in BEDMAS, we multiply and divide before we do anything about adding and subtracting. So my next job is 12 divided by 2. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. Now the choice is between subtracting and multiplying here. We always multiply first. So 6 times 3 is 18. So now we're down to 30 take away 18. And of course 30 take away 18 is 12. So if you put the brackets here, you get 12. Second way I put the brackets in was I put them around the 20 take away 12. Okay, so if I have to do 20 take away 12 first, 20 take away 12, it gives me 8. So now I'm down to 10 plus the 8 divided by 2 times 3. 10 plus 8 divided by 2 times 3. Now in BEDMAS, we multiply and divide in the order they appear. So 8 divided by 2 is next, and that's 4. And then, I don't know why I've got a multiply there. That should be a plus. Okay, so now I've got 4 times 3 is 12. And then, of course, I have 10 plus 12, which gives me 22. That's a typo right there. That should be a plus sign. Okay, and the last way I did it is I put the brackets around the 10, the 20, and the 12. This forces the person doing the question to do all of these things first. Now inside here, the first thing I have to do is decide between adding and subtracting. So 10 plus 20 is 30. So that means, oh, I guess I missed a step here. So I should have 30 take away 12 divided by 2 times 10. And then now 30 take away 12 would give me 18 divided by 2 times 3. So I forgot a step in here. All right. Now I can divide and multiply in the order they appear. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. And then, of course, 9 times 3 is 27. So I would have lost a mark because I should have had the in here inside brackets 30 take away 12 divided by 2 times 3. But since I skipped that step, I would lose a mark there. Okay, so by putting the brackets in these places, I forced it to do multiply and divide after I've done my addition and my work in the brackets. Okay, now that takes us to the end. So if you have any questions, watch the video again, and if not, come in and see me and we'll sort out your difficulties. So have a great day and we'll see you later.